I'm Qbert, and I've got all the right moves. When they said fame would go to my head, they weren't kidding.
Gotcha. Qbert's the game that two can play. If you win the most pegs, you got it made. Pretend to be Cupid, it suits your mood. Or pretend to be slick, the tricky dude. Or pretend to be slick, the tricky dude. Or pretend to be slick, or pretend to be slick, or pretend to be slick, tricky dude. Jump in that pyramid, dude. Pretend to be slick, tricky dude. Jump in that pyramid. Jump in that pyramid. Up and down, hit a nasty, ends around.
What y'all know about Mechanicsville arachnids with 10 trillion ants swarming all over with mandibles latching? Atlantis finest, mantis madness, the artist. Alkaline pilot, Osiris, Osalago Modis. And to be exact, this the ain't no more playing G.A. Tamaray, open on 3 of your eyelids. The highest title, numero uno, commander-in-chief on this beat. Remandio fleet to Guantanamo. I saw we playing dominoes, man. When you hop in the whip, bumping the Celia cruising, I knew they go Calderon. Then hit the liquid eyes, looking like Riddick Chronicles Pominos. It's the Honorable Apache break, Geronimo, woke path on the prodigal, keeping your eye on the Powerball. Now you see we switching lanes. What y'all really know about the river's veins? So many names, shot down in flames. Woe after woe, we see through they games. Password, hood, rave, pound, settle, dose. Shout out to be for high weight folk holding down O's. Oh, midday, took my X chromosome. Hexadecimal, syllabary, electrical, goon, metal, chrome. Poem, manifesting in song. And took one for my folks that's gone. I'm so good, I'm on. The book is on. Good looking throne. Keep booking down. This here Brooklyn Con. Keep on cooking, y'all. Or make sure to check your phone and update the song. And took one for my folks that's gone. And this goes back to TNC Surf. About the same time Billy Tezak's adventure had crossed my turf. DNA time travel, ley line of earth. Master of rain, kick flip on vert. Triptych televised, picnic reverse. Misfits telling lies, lifted the curse. Hit, hooray, Don Quixote Bay. Trick switch, terrorize, this is the verse.
Behold, the rise and fall of Wendy's hip Twitter account. The fast food chain's Twitter, which decided to suddenly get cool last week with some snarky tweets, finally blew it Wednesday by tweeting a version of the Pepe the Frog meme, which has been officially designated as a hate symbol. It all began innocently enough with a Twitter user, apparently amused by Wendy's recent tweet hot streak, tweeted to ask, "Got any memes?" The Wendy's account, which has more than 1 million followers, replied with a Pepe the Frog cartoon, styled with red hair to match the company's famous logo. Jokes on Wendy's, which apparently did not know that the image was deemed last September by the Anti-Defamation League as a hate symbol. The Pepe predicament put a bump in Wendy's sudden quest for viral fame.
This is Pepe the Frog. Looks innocent enough, right? Well, according to the Anti-Defamation League, he's a hate symbol. So how did this odd-looking cartoon join the ranks of the and the Burning Cross? Pepe started out as a mellow, stoner roommate in the indie comic Boys Club by Matt Fury. The lovable character's goofy face made him a hit on forums like 4chan and Reddit. You got Smug Pepe and Feels Good Man Pepe, not to mention Batman Pepe and Che Guevara Pepe. Pretty soon, Pepe started showing up all over the place. It got so big that even Nicki Minaj and Katy Perry were posting Pepe memes. The original fans did not like seeing Pepe go mainstream, so they started a campaign to reclaim him. The idea was to mix Pepe with all kinds of racist imagery. One guy even told the media they built the association with Nazis on purpose so that, quote, normies would stay away. That version of Pepe took off big time. Nowadays, you often see him decked out in Nazi uniforms or KKK hoods. Members of the alt-right use him to harass people. So how did all this get mixed up with the US election? Well, recently, both Trump's advisor and his son shared this image. The deplorables. That refers to a comment Hillary Clinton made about Trump's supporters. Now, there's no way to know if the Trump campaign was aware of Pepe's status, but the Clinton campaign was quick to respond. They posted this explainer to their site. They also pointed out that Trump himself once tweeted the image.
Why do you think that all these accusations have been leveled at me?
Well, I don't know. That's what I find so curious.
It's convenient.
Because I also found this picture of you with behind the pet. Is that you? I mean, it's you, but I mean that's an actual
that's
photo of you.
definitely
You
me.
did that.
Yeah.
So this is the Pepe flag, which I'm sure you know is seen by the left as a hate symbol, and
Yeah, well,
and,
the left
and it-
sees all sorts of things as hate
but
symbols.
it's used by the extreme right as a way of spreading messages. It's seen as an alt-right symbol. This is an alt-right hand symbol, and here you are.
It's mostly used by young men who are poking and causing trouble on social media. That's mostly what it's used for.
But you're
and it's
supposed to be
mostly-
anti-chaos and anti-provocation. I'm just wondering why you would choose to be in this photo.
Well, I've probably had my photo taken with 5,000 or 6,000 people in the last
No, but
year,
this is
so-
with the Pepe flag.
I understand
I mean, you
that,
know
yeah.
that this is now seen as a symbol for the alt. Here's another one. This is a tweet that you sent out, Keck Boys, which is kind of like another Pepe. It's something that's been adopted by the extreme right. Code Pepe.
All right, boom, we're live. Okay, so this is DJ Radon at TTM Academy, and today's lecture is about DJ Qbert bringing back Pepe the Frog. And, we've done some lectures in the past about intolerance in the turntablist community, as well as the underground rap community. And, there's a lot of parallels, so we're going to be talking about this today. And we're also going to be going through some of his past statements, as some of y'all might not be aware that, I guess in 2020, DJ Craze came for DJ Qbert when he was spouting some kind of all lives matter stuff. Now, it's important to note that I myself am not a Black Lives Matter person because, I'm about, families and, they are anti-family. But the thing is if you're all lives matter, that's definitely a movement that's based in bigotry, right? So the thing about all lives matter, what it's basically saying is that racism isn't real, everybody gets discriminated against equally, so all lives matter, right? But so we'll get into that stuff, but we can see that right here. I'm going to read what DJ Qbert posted. It says this is May 16th at 4:01 p.m. The return of DJ Lamb Chop and friends. Stay tuned to youtube.com/studrumble. Also, this just in, a big congratulations to DJ Pepe the Frog, who just received the title Grandmaster from Sifu Lamb Chop. Congratulations, Grandmaster Pepe. Now, if y'all don't know, the turntablists out there, the Grandmaster title, like you have Grandmaster Flash, some of the hip hop legends have been giving people the title like
there's Grand Wizard Theodore. There's a lot of legends with the Grandmaster and Grand Wizard and Grand Mixer, DXT. And the Grand Mixer title, I believe, was maybe given to Qbert by DXT. I believe DXT's been giving maybe like him and somebody else, maybe it's Grand Wizard Theodore, have been giving people the Grand Mixer title. So he's kind of playing off of that, like, hey, this person has just been awarded with the Grand Mixer title. So he's adding Grandmaster to Pepe, right? But the thing is that, Pepe is an alt-right symbol. Even the creator of Pepe laid Pepe to rest. I believe he did a comic where he, put in to say, laid it to rest. Now, as we can see in this picture, Qbert's wearing basically some glasses that are anti-Asian, but, he's Asian himself, so he's making fun, of it or whatever, so it's like, it's up for get away with that. But that's not what I'm talking about today. So today I'm talking about this picture at the bottom, him DJing Frog Guy, right? So we're gonna zoom out a little. So, yeah, Pepe. This is him wearing a Pepe mask with a hip hop outfit, and it's well known that Pepe is an alt right symbol, basically a modern symbol of fascism and stuff like that. So we're gonna do a little bit of research on Pepe the Frog, but first we're gonna go to Qbert's reply, his kind of very, I would say very skittish, kind of insensitive replies to, his comments about, he was like dissing George Floyd and pushing Candace Owens. So we're gonna go through that stuff too. And we're going to go through, there's a video that surfaced of him saying the N-word about 7 times in 1 minute. And that's a lot. He was doing kind of, maybe you could look at it as like him doing an Eddie Murphy type of thing or whatever. But he was clowning a black male that was in his studio. And he called him the N-word 7 times in 1 minute, And I want to give a shout out to, all the Pinoy B-boys out there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rolly Roll, and also shout out to the B girls out there, like Cutting Candy. Shout out to the homie Cutting Candy. When this thing happened, she was made a big statement about it too, about Qbert's basically racism, and people were just calling her an extremist and stuff like that. And this is exactly what Lord Jamar was talking about when he was talking about when you're coming into the house of hip hop, you got to show respect, because hip hop was created by black people. You know what I'm saying? Black and some Latino cast people, right? So it's like anybody else coming into the house of hip hop, people are guests. You know what I'm saying? As black males, when Filipinos first started getting into hip hop in the into the battles, like in the late 80s, early 90s, really the early 90s, we embraced them. You know what I'm saying? We embraced them. We embraced Qbert. You know what I'm saying? Everybody embraced Qbert. You know what I'm saying? But now that Qbert's got all this money, and he's kind of shifting gears and knowing that he's aligning with alt-right people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Pepe is. There's no way to dispute that. Oh, it's just a frog. How can a frog be a racist thing? But Pepe is not only a racist symbol. It's also used as a anti-Semitic symbol. It's it's a symbol of hate worldwide. So I guess first we're gonna go to the actual Pepe definition. I mean, not definition, but we're gonna look up Pepe, the whole Pepe thing, and And you can see some of these comments right here too. See, like they got the frog with the hip hop hat on. People think it's funny, right? But you know, one person right here, you can see Hyson. He did the throw up symbol, and then somebody from Asia is like, "Hey, you don't like the frog or something?" But you know, he's saying it because he's doing the throw up symbol because it's clearly, you know, it's a racist thing. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of racism in Asia. You know what I'm saying? A lot of racism. Last time I was in, you know, Japan, I was, you know, collecting some of the racist Pokemon for my mom because she collects, you know, the racist figurines and the statues from, you know, the American apartheid era, the post-slavery war era, and you know, so I got her some of the, you know, the blackface, like, or I'll say B-face, you know, for the algorithms, the B-face Pokemon. You know, and you know, it's really crazy out there. So in my lecture in the past about Qbert, I went over you know, racism in Asia, but I won't really be focusing on that today. Today specifically, I'm going to be focusing more on Qbert. You know, because a lot of people feel that racism is only a, you know, down south USA thing, but really racism is a worldwide thing, especially anti-black racism, right? All around the world, anywhere you go, you can turn on TV and you can find, you know, anti-black racism. You know, you go to France, you know, it's Charlie Hebdo. You know, you go to Spain, we'll drop a lecture soon on Spain. It's Canguitos, look up Canguitos. It's a chocolate candy, and they've been using these really racially insensitive images since like the '60s, all the way until now, right? And we're going to be dropping the BTS lecture soon as well, you know, because K-pop, you know, the K-pop band BTS, before they gave Black Lives Matter $1 million to clear up their image, they actually, you know, were wearing, one of the lead singers was wearing an actual, I'll say brown shirt, for the algorithms. I'll say a brown shirt, hat, you know, like an actual real hat with a real, you know, from Germany, you know what I'm saying, from back in the World War II. It was a real World War II hat, right? So, you know, now we're going to flip to the Pepe part. So let's copy this link. All right. So you see how this one person, Hysen Zogaj, is a minority in this thing, and he's, you know, like, hey, this is whack, you know, this, and everybody else is like, ha ha ha, this is all funny, and you can see, you know, that it's, you know, black folks and Jewish folks aren't laughing at this. You know what I'm saying? Right? Everybody's like, oh, when you coming down to San Diego? You know, people think this is funny, right? But let's research Pepe the Frog. All right. So I'm gonna type this. All right, there we go. All right, so we're at this. So Pepe the Frog. So this is the American Defamation League, fighting hate for good, right? And it says Pepe the Frog, general hate symbols, alternate names, sad frog. So Pepe the Frog is a cartoon character that has become a popular internet meme, often referred to as the sad frog meme by people unfamiliar with the name of the character. The character first appeared in 2005 in an online cartoon, Boys Club. In that appearance, the character also first used its catchphrase, "Feels good, man." The Pepe the Frog character did not originally have racist or anti-Semitic connotations. Internet users appropriated the character and turned him into a meme, placing the frog in a variety of circumstances and saying many different things. Many variations of the meme became rather esoteric, resulting in the phenomenon of so-called rare Pepes. The majority of uses of Pepe the Frog have been and continue to be bigoted. However, it was inevitable that as the meme proliferated in online venues such as 4chan, 8chan, and Reddit, which have many users who delight in creating R-word memes and imagery, because if I say the R-word too many times, their YouTube algorithms will, you know, act funny. A subset of Pepe memes would come into existence that centered on R-word and anti-Semitic or other bigoted themes. In recent years, with the growth of the alt-right segment of the white supremacist movement, a segment that draws some of its support from some of the above-mentioned internet sites, the number of alt-right Pepe memes has grown, a tendency exacerbated by the controversial and contentious 2016 presidential election. Though Pepe memes have many defenders, the use of R-word and bigoted versions of Pepe memes seems to be increasing, not decreasing. However, because so many Pepe the Frog memes are not bigoted in nature, it is important to examine the use of the meme only in context. The mere fact of posting Pepe meme does not mean that someone is R-word or supremacist. However, if the meme itself is R-word or anti-Semitic in nature, or if it appears in a context containing bigoted or offensive language or symbols, then it may have hateful purposes. So with Qbert, he'll try to, so you can see, like, these are other versions of the Pepe meme right here at the bottom, right? So we know what the Pepe, thing is, right? Now, if we go, now I'm going to flip over to here, and I'm going to bring this page up. All right, so let's see. So you could say, hey, Qbert's just being funny. It's just he's trying to use Pepe in a non-R word way. But if you look at his past statements, we're gonna go to, actually, let's do this one first. Let's go to this craze thing first. All right, before we get to the interview where he was explaining the craze thing, why craze came for him. Invite people. All right, so here we go. So yeah, boom. So this right here, you can see. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So at a certain point, you can see. Let's see. At a certain point, you can see. Qbert said. Let's see. Okay, yeah, you can see it up here. Let's see. Does it show my? It doesn't show the arrow, so I can't select stuff. But if you look in the upper right-hand corner, it says DJ Qbert. He says, at Sparker Lewis, if you can't see, I'm for all effing lives matter B-word, right? So he says he's all lives matter, right? And then underneath you can see right here, it says Qbert apologized, saying he just learned about a counter movement called All Lives Matter. Right, he's playing dumb, like, oh, I never heard of All Lives Matter. I didn't know what Pepe means, So it's like, he's playing the serpentine kind of, double tongue, Two-Face type of thing, where he's just, he's pandering to the alt-right, but at the same time trying to pander to hip hop. Like if you notice in his new album cover, he's got like after Craze called him out for being racist. He dropped a new album cover where it's like him and it's like a black person and a yellow person holding hands or whatever. But so I'm gonna read what Craze wrote in the center, the top center. Somebody says DJ Qbert canceled by Craze, canceled by scratch that wiki whack, right? Because it's really only black turntablists and in the turntablist community that have been speaking up. Really only Crazy about this and me. You know what I'm saying? Most other people are afraid to speak out just because Qbert has so many fans. And it's also important to know that Qbert gave me $1,000 when I was in college. For the DJ Qbert Scratch Legendary Scholarship. So this is not me trying to get any type of clout or anything like that. This is me as a black cast man, respecting my ancestors and for all the atrocities that have happened in the past. So DJ Craze, another black man. We'll get into why DJ Craze is black in the future. And a lot of Latino people are trying to say, "Oh, he's not black, man. He's not black." But he wears his hat on his head all the time for a reason. So he kind of hides it. But when Qbert made this statement, he he had to speak the truth. So I want to shout out to Craze for risking the backlash. Backlash. People have been coming for me for the past 2 years, going on my Wikipedia and trying to change stuff and calling me racial slurs on Wikipedia. It's been a real hectic, 2 years of nonstop since this. And I've asked, Thud Rumble and them, all those cats, Yoga Frog and all them, like, hey, can I, and even Qbert himself, like, we're friends on Facebook. He hasn't talked to me, but I'll be like, hey, let's, talk about this. We could do an interview or whatever. But he doesn't want to do an interview with me. But I'll show an interview that he did do that was supposed to clear everything up, but he didn't. So I'm gonna read what Cray said. And the craziest thing about this is that he's laughing like what's happening is an effing joke. Trump fighting, blah 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 blah. His Alex Jones looking ass, right? So this is Dante Ross. Dante Ross, who is an old school A&R that discovered a lot of early or not early, but let's say golden era hip hop people back in that era. So Dante Ross, he's also of the white caste. And when I say caste, I'm talking about the caste system, because obviously there is no such thing as race. There's really just Homo sapiens and Homo sapien Neanderthalis hybrids. There's no such thing as race. So that's why it's a caste system. So I'm saying caste. Black caste, white caste. They create these fictitious castes. So Dante Ross, being an ally, he said, DJ Qbert, so to be clear, you pro Trump now? The Trump stuff, because to me, Republicans, Democrats, like Brother Malcolm was saying back in the day, it's like the wolf and the fox. The wolf is telling you how they really feel, and the fox is, like the Republicans, and the fox is, being sneaky, like the Democrats. But actually, as far, from a military standpoint, a Republican form of government is actually, the safest form of government, because, it's laws created by the people to, protect the people, right? It's laws created by the, elected officials that the people appoint to protect the people. Whereas a democracy can technically be anything, where you could have, mob rule, and mob rule, is, can be a form of anarchy. So it's like Republican. I'm not either. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. But I'm just talking about from like a more philosophical standpoint. But yeah. So I'm not either. I'm not Republican or Democrat. But yeah. So let me get back to this. So when he made these statements, I'm gonna go to let's see. I'm gonna bring in the interview now. So let's open up this interview, right? So I'm opening up this interview. Okay. Let's see. So here we go. So we're gonna open up this interview.
Agreeing to do this. I know it's been pretty different.
It's amazing right now. Orders for
a few days ago, you had some comments on Twitter that upset a lot of your fans, and I was just wondering, what do you have to say to them?
Oh, what part though? There's a bunch.
Well, just overall. I mean, I don't know if we want to get into individual comments, but just overall, like some people were upset. There was a lot of reaction on social media, and it seems like you've had a few days to think about.
But it's important to note the people that were upset were, mostly like Dante Ross, old school heads that are, representing, ever since he got the gas face by, third base. Third base gave him the gas face, I believe. He's, he knows, he understands the whole Lord Jamar thing of being a guest in the house of hip hop and paying respect. Just like if I, like I like to use the tabla example, because let's say, I'm going to a tabla festival, and I have to respect the Indian culture that, that it came out of, you know what I'm saying? If I start, aligning with, anti-Indian British stuff while playing the tablas, that's faking the funk, so Qbert's faking the funk. He's very talented, but he's faking the funk. Yeah, so let's see. So let me press play.
Yes, let me clear one thing up. There was this thing, it was All Lives Matter. And I had no clue about that. I just DJ forever, right? I just scratch and I don't even watch sports. Of course, this is a big thing. This whole George Floyd thing is a big thing. So I came on like, what's going on? And someone was like trying to press my buttons and what's up, and I was like, no, I'm for everyone. I'm trying to help everyone. I said, all fucking lives matter. And I didn't know there was an All Lives Matter thing.
He just said he didn't know there was an All Lives Matter thing. All right, so we're gonna next, after this, we're gonna go and see, like, is it possible to be living in, this was in 2020, to be living in 2020 and never heard that, being an American citizen. It's different if you live in, Borneo or, or wherever, if you're in Siberia, but, I'm sure even people in Siberia have heard of All Lives Matter, but it was All Lives Matter was on every news station. It was on all over the internet. It was everywhere. It's like, how would he would just, think of coming up that himself. And what this kind of points to is, one of the reasons I'm not a fan of, like, the new age, kind of Blavatsky, historical Blavatsky oriented new age culture of, like, hey man, I'm a hippie, and I don't see race, da da da. But when people aren't seeing that the caste system exists, then they're not helping dismantle it. They're part of the system. They're ignoring atrocities is actually being part of that side of the equation, and actually enabling the atrocity. So he's enabling them by saying all lives matter. Police brutality is the same in all groups. Which isn't a fact. We all know it's 100% fact that my caste, which is called the black caste by the top caste, is called is brutalized by the police way more. But I got paid both times. First time I got like 30 racks, second time I got 10 racks. Second time I did it pro se, I was actually suing them for 230 racks. But it's an everyday thing. It's like for me, I've got more police brutality than scholarships. You know what I'm saying? Or grants. You know what I'm saying? Art grants. It's like for black males like myself, black caste males, police brutality is like our own art grants. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a very, very common thing. They just pull. It's happened to a lot of my friends and family. They just randomly pull you out the car and try to frame you and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And they don't do that to all the other groups. They're not doing that to other groups at the same rate. Obviously, it happens, and that's why sometimes people don't look at scale. Like, they look at outliers and they say, like, oh, the Asian hate thing, 20 people got punched or attacked. But if you compare 20 people to hundreds of thousands, millions of black people that never got any laws passed for them, just over 20, 30 people getting attacked. Scale is very, very important. So the scale of police brutality against us black caste folks is way bigger than any other group. And that's why mathematics is very, very important part. A lot of these movements, they don't want you to really understand mathematics. And if you look at his eyes, he looks kind of right now he's getting older and looks kind of out of it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people were saying that in the comments. We'll go in the comments, but most people were supporting him. That's it's only, like I was saying before, it's usually only like people like Dante Ross that have respect for the culture, that were coming for him, that were not black or whatever. But I didn't see any black DJs coming for me when I story. But when I cover this story, teams and teams of European and American and people were coming for me. You know what I'm saying? They're still coming for me. A lot of like this guy Maciej out of Poland. He was changing my Wikipedia and stuff like that. On some really messed up stuff. And yeah, and then that was kind of what led me to find out about Rob Swift being framed, and just I had to start exposing the racism within the turntablist community, and right now DJ Qbert's the figurehead for that, right?
That is a counterculture for the. I was like, no, I'm for everyone. I'm trying to help everyone. I said all fucking lives matter, and I didn't know there was an all lives matter thing. That is a counterculture for the the BLM movement. So I just want to clear that up. It's like,
okay, so someone was trolling you, asking you to be political, and you just reacted in the moment.
And I'm not that type either. I'm not like, oh, you got to make your thumbnail all black or whatever, and show your support for BLM. That's beyond that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about in this lecture, because I'm not a BLM person, and I don't feel anybody should have to be forced to be a BLM person. You know what I'm saying? Because you notice that BLM, they had to take off the anti-family stuff from their website because people like me were exposing them, and you know what I'm saying? Everything is not just one or two, like two-sided. Everything's not. There's a lot of different sides to different things in life. So it's not just BLM versus ALM. No, there's a million different perspectives out there, and BLM is just one, and ALM is just one. But the ALM perspective is very, very big, and it's a very, very big movement. And Qbert was clearly is clearly part of that movement. People let him off, but now he's rocking the Pepe stuff. So it's like you can't get out of that. That's like, because we just went to the American Defamation League site, and they're clearly saying yes, Pepe is a symbol of the alt-right movement. So just like in ancient times, the swastika was, going the other direction. Was in African, originally appeared in even like Nisbiti, African symbols and stuff like that. They had their own stock. I'm pretty sure it's Nisbiti, but it might have not been Nisbiti. It might be another one. But yeah, I mean, even to it being used all over the world in Asian culture and things like that, and a lot of but ever since the world wars and the brown shirts took on that symbols take on new meanings, and you can't erase those meanings from the symbols. So Pepe is Qbert repping Pepe. For everybody that's just coming in, this lecture is about Qbert's new this new video of him scratching as Pepe, what I'm saying, who's it's basically the same as like wearing B-face, or just wearing a white hood or something, what I'm saying, because that's what Pepe means now. It doesn't mean that's what it used to mean 20, or I guess he created in like 2005 or something. We'll go into the history of all that in this lecture, the history of Pepe, but I just want to go through this thing.
Right?
Yeah. It says all lives matter. It says, I'm for all lives matter, bitch. I really meant to say.
So he's saying it's different because he added curse words in it, which is crazy. So, a lot of people critique this video saying that, he seems like he's a little bit batty. And he obviously is. I thank him for giving me a G back in the day, $1,000, when I was in school, and I applied to his grant. They had this thing called the Global Scratch Foundation, and they gave me the award at ScratchCon 2000. So, I thank him for that. But, I believe in the Japanese, concept of Kaizen, right? The Japanese concept of Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. And so just because, somebody's done something good for you in the past doesn't mean that they can't hurt other people in the future, and it doesn't mean that you have to stay loyal to them. And so for me, my loyalty is to peace and positivity for all people, and and also protecting my family and ancestors. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people ask me why I do these videos. A lot of people, the European diaspora, ask me that, and Latino diaspora. People that are coming from me. Because it's only those people that are coming from me. The Euro diaspora, Latino diaspora, and Asian diaspora, who are coming for me and saying like, why are you coming for Qbert and da 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 da, and they're trolling me and even like plagiarizing some of my stuff and making fun, and trying to say I didn't invent TTM, and just all this trying to smear me and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's very very tiring. And but it is what it is. It's a force that's always been out there, and that's what the civil doing right now. This is to me, I'm doing the same thing that that my uncles and aunts and grandparents and cousins were doing by March. Because you got to remember, I'm the first free person in my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm the first. I was born, after '67, not long after, in the late '70s, and I'm the first free person in my family, meaning I'm the first person that was able to go to school with Caucasian people. I was able to go to, able to marry somebody of a different caste, right? Because like you go to India, you're not supposed to marry the different caste, but here they had the same thing. You couldn't marry the different castes, right? And eventually they took that law down in '67, and it was my family and ancestors and that started this civil rights movement, the movement to civilize the uncivilized, basically. And we're the ones who got the right for Qbert to be able to go do anything he wants and go anywhere he wants, buy a house anywhere he wants. You know what I'm saying? We are fighting for everybody. We got everybody free. You know what I'm saying? We got women quotas. We got other minority groups quotas. You know what I'm saying? But then a lot of these people still spit upon us and try to clown us. Even though we got them all these rights. So that's called insolence. So he's being insolent. And then why does he have the bananas in the back? My wife pointed that out. She's like, why does he have bananas right there? Like, if you're supposed to be apologizing to black people, why would you, you know what I'm saying? Why would you have bananas in the background? You know what I'm saying? Right? That's very, very, so it's like he's just playing games. He's like, snaking around these subjects like, oh, I never heard of All Lives Matter. Look, I got these bananas in the background. Look, I'm Pepe now. You know what I'm saying?
I love everyone. I'm trying to help everyone because, like you can see all these bricks being planted. There's these agent saboteurs coming around, starting riots. There's like the cops are, messing up their own cars. I'm like, hey, wait, there's something going on, So it's like, it's not just, there's probably something going on to mess up all of humanity. So that's why.
All right, so let's see what some of the people are saying about this. All right, it says Qbert is DJ legend, brilliant artist, respect. You're going to cancel him in the DJ world for political tweets. Lafalo, what type of B-word made clowns are calling themselves hip-hop DJs? You see how everybody's supporting him. And then the next person saying, wow, there's a lot of comments here. I don't think I'm going to read all the comments, but I'm going to read through some of them. And then let's see. Yeah, people love this. People love him. And now, folks, you know why he's a DJ, not an MC. This dude never ages. Da, da, da. All right, keep sharing the positivity, Qbert, as the years continue, pile up. Da, 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 because that's what I'm saying. It kind of relates to that whole West Coast kind of vibe of like, like, hey man, let's not, we're all one. Everything is good. There's no caste system. There's no problems. But that's a form of racism, actually, to say that there's no problems. But you can see, I'm going to just read through some of these. You can see that people aren't, against this. So I'm going to just read some of them. Keep sharing the positivity, Qbert. As the years continue to pile up, more and more loving people will emerge. The universe provides. We as humans are energy conductors, and positivity always finds positivity. Let's see. Qbert's mind is set where more people need to be. Love each other as people. Stop the hate and stop the sensitive blame game. Right, but no, there are people to blame, and because he was just trying to blame agent provocateurs, and to those people who call him racist, look at yourself first. He's a minority and feels the same judgment. No, there's a caste system, and there's different dynamics to racism, because higher castes can always look down upon lower castes and who have less power than them, and they can enact personal racism and institutional racism. Pepe is an institution. Him wearing the Pepe mask is an actual institution. It's millions and millions of, tweets. The Pepe sphere is probably bigger than, a lot of other things in this world. Like there's probably more Pepe art than Egon Schiele. You know what I'm saying? Right? I respect that he chooses love and peace over hate. Okay, you ain't thinking like me, so I hate you. Yes, he aptly summarized our society at this moment in history. You see, everybody supports him. It's commie BS. Right? Now, Black Lives Matter is definitely on some commie stuff, but All Lives Matter is also on some commie stuff because racism is kind of a commie concept as well, because if you go to communist countries, it's super racist. You go to China, it's super racist out there. They were banning, in the last lecture in Qbert, I showed how they were banning black folks in McDonald's from coming into McDonald's when COVID was happening. Right? Twitter is just a toilet. And also you go to Russia. Russia, is acting crazy now, bombing people right now. It's super racist over in Russia. So communism and racism go hand in hand. But strangely, communists have always been trying to, infiltrate the black community since the early days, and try to get people to follow them. Right. So big ups to Q and Thud, being and down to earth. That one time me and Jill hung out with you at your crib, my ace, guy's got a heart of gold and a sense of humor to match. He would never mean to offend or hurt anyone that looks up to them. Right? You see, that's what I'm saying. This is where we're at right now in 2022. People act like, racism's not allowed, but, we'll go into after this, we're going to go into the video of him, saying the N-word 7 times in 1 minute, right? Different things like that. But yeah, you can just see like everybody's pretty much pro Qbert in this. Just, showing you all a little bit of background, because that's kind of gets boring after a while. But so I'm going to play some more.
I had to come out like that.
So what you mean by that is like you really just celebrate all life. It's not that you're against Black Lives Matter, right?
No, of course every life matters, and of course we have to fix the thing with black people. Like, people need to respect them, because it's like, they're the first original man on the planet, right?
True.
It's like if you go to planet whatever, Neptune, and you start killing off all the inhabitants there. It's like, it's kind of like you gotta respect black people in that way. It's like, dude, what the fuck's going on? But of course, there's a bigger picture, which is like they could be using this to start a world war, keep the new world order going.
So he's trying to like say, he's trying to use conspiracy to weasel out of this. You know what I'm saying? And even this interviewer is kind of helping him weasel out of it. Obviously they're friends, and obviously he's not asking the right questions, because any real interviewer, if he was on CNN, he'd be like, so Qbert, you're telling me you've really never heard of All Lives Matter, right? Like, if he was on CNN, if he was on Fox, or he was on anywhere, they'd be like, so you've never heard of all... Maybe if he was on Fox, it'd be different, obviously. But, if he was on being interviewed by any real reporter, they'd be like, so how is it that you've been able to, exist in the past year or two and have never heard that phrase before? You just, because he's acting like he made it up himself in kind of a heuristic method of just like, hey, I just came up with that myself. That's what he's basically saying. He said he didn't know it existed.
So I'm like, I'm like a what if guy. Mm-hmm. What if? And so it's like, I'm looking out for everyone, so I just had to point that out.
Okay. Fair enough. Now,
and look, you notice how the interview, his hand is kind of shaking. He's kind of worried about,
what's going
you know, I mean, maybe he's just, new to it or whatever, new to the subject, but, they're obviously friends.
On with you when you said all that? I mean, were you under a lot of stress or anything?
Like just like the trolls, they kind of are trying to like press your buttons and stuff. But I'm all for love. Just to get that clear, I'm for love. I want everybody to be moving into this next world, all loving, and that's where I stand. And I've always been like that.
All right, so now, now we're gonna go to here. Let's see. That day DJ Qbert used the N-word. Let's see. Copy. Maybe we'll go back to that. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this video.
Okay. Do you have any regrets for saying what you did? Do you feel like you maybe could have framed things in a different way?
No,
You
because
see how this interview? It's almost like it's almost like if this were a trial, he is Qbert's defendant lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like Qbert's retaining him to be his press person, PR person to clear this stuff up. Because he's just like asking about Qbert's emotions. Like he's not just asking about the actual controversy, and
I didn't know there was a counterculture,
Okay.
and people just misconstrued it. So that's why this
he's saying he didn't know that there was an All Lives Matter movement. He never heard of it. He's talking crazy.
interview's here to clear that up, because that's kind of like I just didn't know.
And also too, on another note, Qbert, if you ever want to challenge me, I'm ready now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you've been at a much higher level than me for years, but now I'm getting up there at a super high level, and Qbert's cuts he hasn't actually increased his level over the years. He got to a super high level, but his style's pretty much still been the same. You know what I'm saying? Over the past 20 years, he's pretty much still at the same level he was at 10 years ago.
Think about that, but it's not. There's nothing. I wasn't trying to harm anyone or anything, or take.
But see, that's the thing about racism, is that it doesn't have to have harmful intentions. As with let's say a mob of people are running through a city, and somebody steps on and somebody gets trampled. They're not trying to trample the person. They might not have seen the person, but mob mentality is kind of what white supremacy is about. You know what I'm saying? And erasing the caste system, and erasing the fact that racism exists against black people, especially when it comes to police, is a form of racism. You don't have to be burning a cross, or what I'm saying. You don't have to do that to be racist. Obviously burning a cross is one end of the spectrum, but on the other end of the spectrum are people with good intentions that have black friends, and they're just intolerant. Bigotry is spectrum. You know what I'm saying? And to get off that spectrum, you have to actively be anti-racist. You have to actively, be like at the dinner table and be like, no, Grandpa, no, Qbert, that's not cool. Pepe's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't hear any turntablists of the Hebrew diaspora saying like, hey, Qbert, Pepe's not cool. I'm the only one doing it, so that's why I'm making this video.
Take the focus off,
Okay.
And take the focus off what black people need right now. Like that's kind of strange for him to say what he's talking about.
Now, you've described yourself as apolitical. What does that mean in your view?
What's that mean, apolitical?
Apolitical, that means you don't follow politics, you don't take.
So this also shows Qbert's level of intelligence. Well, I wouldn't say intelligence, because it's more of a vocabulary thing. You don't have to have a big vocabulary to be intelligent. So I would say it's more of a kind of if he's never heard the word apolitical and doesn't understand what that means, it just shows that he's not sharp. He's not because even you don't even have to go to a high level of school to to know what that means. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, he's out there.
Take a side.
Right, absolutely. I'm more on the spiritual side where it's like, hey, you know, like whatever God wants, you know, whatever God wants for us in the future. It's kind of like let's say we vote or whatever, but it's like, well, God's got a way of.
You see how he's like changing the subject, and you know, he's trying to like take it, like show that he's religious and like, or whatever, you know,
of fixing everything anyway. So it's kind of like they call it kind of like it's you know how you go in the field and you pick the good fruits. Mm-hmm. So if you're more loving,
I'm gonna speed this up because he's just like kind of talking smack, but I'm gonna speed this up, playback speed. I'm gonna make it like 1.5. That's good.
And you're into helping humankind, you're any nationality, then you're gonna move to the next world, right? The next beautiful world. Everyone that's in the world of hate, they're just killing each other off right now. So I'm looking at it like that. It's like, oh, okay. It's more of like it's more of like picking the good fruits. Everyone that's taking care of each other will move on. Everyone that's hating each other and killing each other, they're gonna stay back.
So you just concentrate on generating positive energy then?
Always. My whole shit is that.
Now, let me ask you this. So you already addressed the Black Lives Matter thing. What about George Floyd? What would you say to his family right now?
Because he also in that rant, he was, you know, he was dissing George Floyd.
I would say that wasn't cool, and I think that from all this, people are realizing, yeah, why are we hating each other? What's up with this, you know? And I think it'll make people realize that are smart. They'll be like, why are we hating?
See, he's evading the question.
People making us hate each other like this? What's up with this? This ain't right. Let's get back to being loving, you know?
Mm-hmm. Now, you also made some comments about Donald Trump, and some people thought that you were a Donald Trump supporter. Do you feel like your comments about Trump got misconstrued?
Absolutely. I mean, some things he does is cool, some things he doesn't is cool, but I don't even vote. It's like, look at Donald Trump. He got, there's a thing of him, he raped some 13-year-old girl, right? And then you got Hillary, where she's like eating kids or something. It's like, George Soros is like buying countries with, he don't give a fuck if it gets destroyed, right? It's like, who do you believe? What's real, what's not? So I don't even get into all that. I mean, I think Trump is funny at the debates because it's like a circus, but it's not like, I'm not supporting. I think they could be like, I'm a what if person. They could all be in cahoots with each other. We don't know.
They could be.
Yeah.
But
see, he keeps, you know, changing the subject.
Just to set the record straight, you never came flat out and said I'm a supporter of Donald Trump,
No,
right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
But he flat out said he was all lives matter, though. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because like I was saying before, I'm not Republican or Democrat either. Just like, so I can agree with Qbert on the things he was just saying about, you know, being apolitical or whatever. But him saying all lives matter is a political movement. So that's an actual party. You know what I'm saying? Just like there's the Whigs party and there's the, you know what I'm saying? You know, this party, that party, there's a all lives matter party. You know, there's a BLM party, and I'm not part of BLM or all lives matter. You know, to me, I'm against both of those parties. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so let's continue.
Now, what I want to say here is, you know, freedom of speech, that is one of our constitutions.
And like I was saying again, this interviewer, he's clearly just kind of like, you know, he's hunched down. He's just not, you know, he's got some comedic stuff in his hat, but he's not, you know, representing himself as a, you know, a strong, upright brother that's representing his ancestors. You know, he's kind of acting like a dude that's kind of, you know, wants to stay cool with Qbert, and you know what I'm saying? Because if I was up there, I would be it would be totally different.
Right. So obviously, you know, you have a right to say whatever you want to. However, we are living in a time that is, you know, a highly political climate right now. It's just very charged in this very present moment. Can you understand why people were upset with you?
I also think that there's a psychological warfare going on too. So it's like, you ain't thinking like me, I hate you. So it's like, whoa.
See, he never. See, the main thing about this is where I'm playing this is that Qbert never apologized to everybody that's just coming in the room. Qbert recently just posted some Pepe the Frog stuff. He dressed up as Pepe the Frog and called himself Grandmaster Pepe. You know, and you know, we all know there's Grandmaster Flash, and you know, that's almost equivalent to like taking a let's say some klezmer music and, you know, adding some type of brown shirt, you know, icon to it or something. You know, it's disrespectful to black people. It's disrespectful to hip hop. It's disrespectful. It's also anti-Semitic. You know what I'm saying? Pepe is a clear symbol of hate. And I'm showing him and saying all this all lives matter stuff in the past and not apologizing for it. He's just saying like, oh, I didn't know about all lives matter. But obviously, everybody knows about All Lives Matter that's, over the age of 15. You know what I'm saying? People have heard about it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's like what happened to our freedom of having our opinions.
And people should have their freedom of opinion, but that many of those opinions are racist, and he's not apologizing for being racist.
Take everyone's opinion, whatever. It's all good. I don't care. I still stand on my side. If you're a good person, you're gonna move on. If you're gonna,
he said he still stands on his side. So you notice how he never apologizes here. He's showing his true colors. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you see, what's that guy, Richard Spencer? He'll be like, he'll use tricky back and forth kind of new school alt-right rhetoric, because in the past they'd just be like, yeah, I hate you guys, but now the alt-right movement, they'll be like, yeah, I love Dr. Dre, I'm not racist, I got a lot of black friends, dated black women, this and that, and they'll but then they'll drop some All Lives Matter stuff, or drop some Pepe stuff like Qbert's just dropping.
Hate people, you might get left back.
Yeah, I think that sometimes when things play out over social media, some of the nuance sometimes gets lost.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so
the nuance. What's the nuance in All Lives Matter? No, there's no nuance. Nuance is a clear, movement.
This experience. I mean, I'm sure it's been a lot for you, but what have you learned from this experience?
People are like in touchy situations. People are really like, they can get swayed easy to be hateful, and then.
So he's calling the people that are against him, pushing All Lives Matter. He's saying they're hateful. He's saying that I'm hateful for saying, You know what I'm saying? For saying like, yo, all that All Lives Matter stuff is erasing, is a form of erasure of black strife. You know what I'm saying? The strife of the black caste, which I'm a part of.
There's other people that are awake to it's like, now you gotta stay loving, and what if I'm asleep and I should be hating,
Mm-hmm.
But I stand with what God would want. I just want to stay loving with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard about everything, and I saw some of the comments, I was like, man, I got to talk to Q, because I've known Q for years, for decades, y'all.
So you can see they're friends. That's what I'm saying. He's not being an impartial interviewer. He's being a homie that's trying to do help him with damage control.
And I know Q isn't what they're painting him out to be. So I was like, let me just talk to the man himself.
Right.
Now, how would you? That goes into the next question, which is some of the comments out there. We're just saying some really nasty things, and they were saying that that you're a racist, or that.
You see, he's saying nasty things. How's that nasty? So this guy, I don't know who this guy is. What is this called? True School. Let's see. This is Eric Arnold. It says Eric Arnold, True School TV. So yeah, this Eric Arnold is shucking and driving right now. And disrespecting. What's that? Horus in his hat. Holding the Ankh. He's shucking and driving right now, people calling him out. He's basically saying DJ Craze is wrong for calling him racist. You know what I'm saying? So I want to just rewind that one more time.
Out there, we're just saying some really nasty things.
He's saying that DJ Craze is saying nasty stuff about Qbert for, DJ Craze respecting his ancestors. You know what I'm saying? This guy's hat, this Eric guy, his hat is, ancestral symbol, and, he's sitting here shucking and driving, and that's why I had to do this lecture.
And they were saying that that you're a racist, or that you practice anti-blackness. And what would you say to that?
Well, first of all, my best friend, if you ever watch him, MCUB, you know him? That's my best friend. Like, okay, he's black. Like, okay, I'm racist. Wow.
Okay, so when he performs, does he perform with this guy? Nope. I've never seen him perform with the black MC. Do you hear this black MC on his albums? No. No, I don't hear him. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that. I've never seen him perform live with a black rapper. You know what I'm saying?
I got a black friend, my best friend.
And, that's a common trope, too. People will be like, I'm not racist, my friend is black. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you're not racist. It just means that you're not on the gas chamber end of the spectrum. It just means that you're, on a different side of the spectrum, but it's still on the spectrum.
What else is it?
Because remember, it's not black and white. Racism, it's not either you're racist or you're not racist. No, it's a spectrum. You're either on the spectrum or you're off the spectrum. And to be off the spectrum, you have to be going against it and apologizing. He hasn't apologized. So we're still, as the black community, the black turntablist community, we're still waiting for DJ Qbert to apologize. You know what I'm saying? He still hasn't apologized yet. Making sure this is still live. Good. All right. Okay, so let's press play.
What was the second question?
Just, how would you address people who say that you're racist, or that you have anti-blackness, or, those things?
They can believe what they want, bro. But my homies are black, so.
So he's talking about DJ Craze, DJ Craze, and myself, because I'm calling it out, and DJ Craze called it out, and it's that's the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement is saying like, hey, we want equality, and part of wanting equality is first recognizing that there are inequalities, and saying the all lives matter stuff is not recognizing inequalities, because they were saying that back in the civil rights era. They're like, there's no racism, you guys are troublemakers, and that's what both of them are saying right now. Like those guys, they're flipping the narrative and saying that the people that are calling out the racism are the nasty ones.
It's like I got all kind of nationalities that are homies, so I even go to Filipino conventions that my race, and I tell Filipinos to be like, it's cool that you're all Filipino, you're proud to be Filipino, but let's work for the whole planet too. Let's make music for everybody. Let's do things for everybody. I'd be saying that.
And if you go to the Philippines, the Negritos, the original Filipinos, the black people that were, originally the original indigenous inhabitants of the Philippines are totally oppressed there, And in all throughout, my last lecture I already covered that, the colorism that's all throughout Southeast Asia. Or just the whole Asia in general, the lighter your skin is in Asia, the higher your caste is, and so even within the Philippines, all that stuff is very, very extreme. You know what I'm saying? So somebody like him with lighter skin is seen as a higher level than the pure Negritos that have afros living in the mountains. You know what I'm saying? And also, this is Asian Pacific Islander month. And notice that if you look at all the Pacific Islander month stuff, they're not representing any of the black people. They want to erase all the black people from the Pacific, right? Because they want that slave narrative that like, they don't want people knowing that. When I say they, I'm talking about those corporations and companies in control of the history books. They never showed me, Pacific Islanders when I was growing up in my textbooks. You know what I'm saying? My mom had to buy. This is before the internet. My mom had to buy this like Cultures of the World, or it was kind of like an encyclopedia. It was like World Book Cultures of the World encyclopedia, and it had all the different tribes of the world. And it was like, wow, look, I can see these black people in Fiji. See these black people in Vanuatu. See these black people that are natives. You know what I'm saying? They weren't brought there in slave ships. You know what I'm saying? It's like we travel the world. Like the main thing is that, black people were settled everywhere around the world before anybody else existed, and we have the proof of it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to keep letting this play.
Mm-hmm. So really, you're just down for the unity.
I'm down for unity. I'm down for the whole planet as one. We're all children of God. We're all one human race. It's kind of ridiculous.
Now, one thing that maybe a lot of people don't know, because you don't go out of your way to publicize it, but you've actually reached back and worked with and lifted up some of these DJ pioneers and people that inspired you. I remember when you threw the ScratchCon convention in 2000 and brought out all these,
It was in 2000. The closed caption is wrong because he clearly said 2000, but they somehow thought it was 2008. Maybe Google has some weird thing in there where they want people to think things are newer or something, but this was in 2000. This is where Qbert awarded me with the Global Scratch Foundation scholarship. But the thing is that even if you're helping others and stuff like that, still doesn't mean that you can't be a bigot. You know what I'm saying? Just like there's bigots that have kids that are they might marry a woman of a different caste, of a different ethnicity, and they have kids and they buy their kids presents, and they love their kids, but they can still be a bigot, and they can still look down on their wife, and they can still look down on people, their wife's family or whatever, and their ancestors. It doesn't mean just because somebody gives somebody a gift or hooks somebody up. And another thing is him hooking up, taking some of the legends on tour. That was also helping his career, because at that time, we call that cash cowism. A cash cow is somebody that you can milk, and and their milk can diffuse into you and make yourself more famous. So if he takes Grand Wizard Theodore on tour, that's establishing Qbert as more of a classic artist, and it brings his rep and clout up.
Like Mixmaster Ice and Jazzy Jeff and all of these people that some of them at the time weren't really getting a lot of shine and weren't really getting a lot of spotlight. Can you speak on why it was important to do that and to reach back to the people who inspired you?
I mean, once again, it wasn't a black thing. It was just if you got skills to make the world.
The thing is he reaching out to those people now? You know what I'm saying? Because people shift. You know what I'm saying?
A better place. Let's do it.
Because right now I haven't seen him, reaching out. I just see him doing his shows and doing his big raves and playing into the alt-right stuff. Just like a lot of techno and EDM DJs that we've been covering and we'll be covering a lot more. Because we did the Bass Nectar, expose. We did, it's just so much. The That Sick is, it's like.
That's all we do. I wasn't even looking, he's black, we should bring him on because we're going to track a black audience. I wasn't thinking like this. He got skills, he's a pioneer, that guy's dope, bring him on, he's going to make the world a better place. And that was it.
Mm-hmm. You also brought out Grand Wizard Theodore on tour.
That's my homie, yes.
And
he invented scratching.
And that was something you didn't have to do that, right?
Well, I think it's dope. Grand Wizard Theodore, the guy that invented.
And this is why he should be apologizing. He's still, you know what I'm saying? Because if he was sitting down with Grand Wizard Theodore right now, and Grand Wizard Theodore might be afraid of losing fans because Qbert's more famous than Grand Wizard Theodore is now. So, if you think about that, people being afraid to lose fans, only me and Craze aren't afraid.
Scratching, that's what we do. It's like, let's go on tour. People don't know.
Everybody else is silent.
I was fascinated too when I was like, so who invented scratching? I was like, oh, Grand Wizard Theodore, wow, let's be his homie, So.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like I was saying before, that's called a cash cow. If like let's say you see a show and somebody has, Grandmaster Flash at the top of the bill and then your name under it, that means you're using Grandmaster Flash as a cash cow to, make some of his fame rub off on you. And then when they're not useful anymore, they move on. It's like you don't see Qbert continue to reach out to these people. It was only 20 years ago when he felt like he needed them at that point in his career.
I nerd out on scratching. It's not even race and nothing. B-boy, hip-hop has nothing to do with race. If you dope, you dope. That's the category. If you're not, then let's check out all these dope guys. It's amazing. It doesn't have nothing to do with race.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the Rolling Stones bringing out John Lee Hooker to open up their tour, right?
Exactly. He's pointing out a good point. They're trying to rep the past, but Rolling Stones was stealing mad stuff. They were stealing stuff, capitalizing stuff, and people knew it, and so they're doing that as kind of like make a little bit of amends, or whatever, or even to increase their rep, because all the British artists were stealing from the black rock artists from America at that time and even earlier. So it's like them bringing out John Lee Hooker is even besides the point, because they were still stealing so much stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like literally stealing whole songs of people. You know what I'm saying? Because black folks, we didn't really have good proper legal representation till like the 80s.
There's someone who inspired them.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with race.
Okay.
It's just who can create beauty for heaven on earth, to make heaven on earth, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've also heard that your production crew, Thug Rumble, has done a lot of social justice work that has been kind of on the low, that really hasn't been publicized. But I thought maybe now is the time to let that be known and actually, can you speak on it?
Social justice stuff? I don't know. I just know our creed is to make heaven on earth and make people happy with our skills and to teach people to
see this interviewer is clearly like, really, really trying to help Qbert. It's like he literally sounds like he's his damage control PR person.
Do that. So it has nothing to do with race or anything.
Right. I mean, I've just heard that Thug Rumble has done a bunch of events. Some of them have been for free, like doing production.
So an event for free, how is that social justice? Like this guy's really shucking and driving right now.
Soundstage work, stuff like that.
I mean, it's all about karma, right? You put your music out there for free, you're gonna make the world happy. It's gonna make you. The first half of my album right now is for free. It's been like that. That's the future.
Now, speaking of moving from karma to ideology, in terms of personal philosophy and ideology, culturalism.
Oh, I think it's kind of like, I'm fascinated by aliens, right? So we got aliens on this planet. Everybody got their own culture. It's just beautiful. It's like,
you see how he's changing the subject. It's like he's talking about multiculturalism, and he instead of answering the question, he's like, just talking aliens or talking conspiracy theories.
Like sharing, like, oh wow, you can take something from like Latinos, like the way they started hip hop too, with like breakdancing and stuff, and graffiti and all that. They got their culture and the way they do their things. They believe in their own, like they've been seeded from other races too, from out of this world, and so they have their, they have.
You're talking about aliens right now.
Their dances and that culture, and every race has that. And sometimes these governments, when you turn communism,
that's also gets into the Pleiadian stuff. A lot of I met some people. I met some people on the East Coast before that were talking that stuff, but it's usually more of a West Coast kind of yoga culture kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I'm part Pleiadian, it's this, high advanced Aryan civilization from the Pleiades. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of people believe that, and that's kind of what he's talking. And that stuff is racist too, because they believe in blonde hair, blue-eyed Nordic aliens. You can go to YouTube and type Nordic aliens. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's talking about. He's talking about, being seated with Nordic aliens and stuff like that. So we're gonna get out of this video. I'm gonna type Nordic aliens. So if you go type Nordic aliens on YouTube, we did a whole lecture debunking Nordic aliens, but it's a big movement, and it's a big West Coast thing. People really talk about Nordic aliens like it's real in the West Coast. It's like a big part of the culture. So let me see if I can pull this up. Right, so Nordic aliens, right? In UFOlogy, Nordic aliens are humanoid extraterrestrials purported to come from Pleiades who resemble Nordic Scandinavians. Professed contactees describe them as being 6 to 7 feet tall, 2 meters, with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin. UFOologist George Adamski, sounds like a hip-hop name, is credited with being among the first to claim contact with Nordic aliens in the 1950s, a very, very racist era. And scholars note that the mythology of extraterrestrial visitation from beings with features described as Aryan often claims telepathy, benevolence, and physical beauty, right? It's interesting. The woman that told me, shout out to Seb, Little B's business partner and DJ. Shout out to Seb, and he had me perform at his gallery. Actually, it was the opening for Lee Scratch Perry's Rest in Peace. This is when Lee Scratch Perry was alive. He was also a painter. He did an art show, and my friends were representing him. So he did a show at their gallery called the Dim Passwords Gallery, and I opened, for that event. And I did a noise set, some noise rap, noise DJing. I wasn't rapping. I was using my MIDI guitar to chop up and distort stuff in Ableton Live. So the whole set was with my guitar. And we'll be doing a lot of guitar stuff in the future here at TTM Academy, MIDI guitar stuff, type of stuff, because I'm definitely, a pioneer of that. Nobody was, Vec started, trying to do that recently, but, I was to use the guitar to chop up Ableton. All right. So yeah, we're going to get out of that. Now we're going to go to the day that Qbert used the N-word 7 times in 1 minute. So we're going to go to that. Let's go to that. All right, so let me actually
just the N-word, just like scratching just the N-word. So I'm going to do a whole video in the future of is it. All
right, I'm going to slow this down because it's going super, super fast. So yeah, let me slow the speed down to, I'll just make it normal. All right, so you can understand, because he says these things really fast. So this is the transcript. Before we hear Qbert say it, I'm going to read it. So Qbert says, D-word, N-word, you, turns out the mixer's cameraman says cool. I think the cameraman was Richie, I guess, but let me see. So Q says, I. Cameraman says, all right, I'll check you out. The guy says, this is the black guy. Says, gives that to the cameraman and Q. You know I was slamming though. This was after they scratched. And the cameraman says, that was dope. That was dope. Hell yeah. And then Q says, man, you were slamming the effing shower. G-word, D-word. Waves hands using bad smell gesture. Damn, N-word. The guy says, the shower? What are you talking about? I took a shower. Gets cut off by Q. Q says, showered in the mud, N-word. Come on, blood. Let's get out of here. And like I was saying before in this lecture, when people talk about mud is a common
kosher in turn tables and to scratch the N-word. But yeah, this is just finally from that video I was looking for in my last.
Okay, so yeah, what I was gonna say is, the whole mud analogy, people that's like a racial slur. You know what I'm saying? So he says, shower in the mud, and we're come on, blood, let's get out of here. Pushes the guy towards the studio exit door, And then the guy says, I'm gonna get in my car. And then Qbert says, I'll get you a effing ball, Nword. This is effing mud, effing circle, right? And he hands the guy a deflated like football, I guess. And there's group laughter. Come on through later though. And the guy says, all right, scratch more with you guys. Qbert says, I don't think we need you, Pop, this time. I'll effing see ya. Guy has roll of duct tape in his hand. You need some more, because the guy was trying to, joke back with him. You need some more and patch up yo A-word face. Hold on, rips off a piece of tape. Because the guy was getting obviously offended. He kept dropping M-bombs on this dude. And the guy says, that ish got a little pump. Need to patch up your mouth, dude. He's talking about the ball. Right. Qbert says, hey, you better patch up your a-hole, Nword. That was just effing leave it. Waves hands using bad smell gesture and puts tape on the football. And then he says, damn, Nword, get the F out of here. Nword, let's go play some movies, right? So that's 7 times in 1 minute. He said that, so we're going to go to that.
And yeah, so he says the N-word 7 times in 60 seconds.
Cool. Alright, check it out.
You know I was slamming though.
That's dope. Hell yeah.
Damn, you been slamming fucking shower. Shower. I took the shower and mud. Then come on,
And he's pushing him.
I'll get your fucking bun, nigga. This is a fucking mud fucking circle.
So it's like this, the N-word multiple times, the Pepe stuff, the All Lives Matter. It's like, come on. People are, people are having cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when, when there's somebody that you love and they do something that's, hateful, that you just can't accept it.
Come to later, though. Alright? Because, scratch more what you got. I don't think we need you, Bob. This time I'll fucking see it. Need some more, man. Patch up your ass face. Hold on. That's just how it come. Pass up your mouth, dude. Yeah. Hey, you better pass up your asshole, nigga.
Right?
That's what I need it. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Come on. I got no place to live.
He said it like 3 times in that one sentence.
So
we just finished that, right? All right, so now we're gonna go back to the Pepe stuff, right? And I'm gonna post this pic again. Let's see, let's put this right here. So yeah, this is what he said. He was like, DJ Qbert, if you can't see, I'm for all lives matter, basically. You know what I'm saying? He put it out there very clearly. All right, let's do some rewinding. All right, let's do a little.
Agreeing to do this. I know it's been pretty hectic.
Let's go to here.
Telescopes
With
and all
no
that.
telescope,
Yes.
like before Kepler.
Super advanced.
I know.
Peace and loving, and then
All right, so we're gonna let's see, turn the closed captions back on. Let's see.
Being, a prominent person in hip hop and also being Pinoy.
well, like when I first started seeing hip hop, it was like you said, like poppers, Filipino poppers, and then the music was black. But then there's also whites that started electronic music, like Kraftwerk, So it's all.
But it's also, you got to remember, Kraftwerk was doing, they were kind of a little bit more experimental, but they're also kind of more on some prog rock stuff. It wasn't raised, nobody was dancing to Kraftwerk. People were just watching them like, whoa, what's that they're doing? Electronic dance music was started by black people from Detroit. A lot of people think, rave and electronica came from England or came from Kraftwerk. It's like, no, it's like black folks took Kraftwerk and made it funky and sampled it and chopped it up and obviously influenced by it. We have, Musique Concrete from France, but nobody was dancing to Musique Concrete. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was dancing to Kraftwerk. You know what I'm saying? Electronic music is dance music. When we say electronic music, we're not talking about experimental music. We're talking about electronic dance music.
All God's collaboration of all the races together, and it's a beautiful thing.
So he's still all lives matter. So he never, this whole 30-minute interview, he's never apologized once.
Puerto Ricans and Filipino contribution. Now, would you say that that the Filipino contribution to hip hop, that Filipinos in the Bay are kind of like Puerto Ricans and Dominicans on the East Coast?
I guess so. It could be like that. But Filipinos are also part black too. If you go back to the history, we're from Negritos. My mom comes from a town called Negros Occidental, and she said in the mountains, it's all black people. So it's like we're all connected. The whole planet is got it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that is a fact, actually. Now,
So now he's, trying to say that he's black, you know what I'm saying? Because as we did in our last lecture, the black Filipinos are highly discriminated against, right? Like if we go into here, I'm going to pull this old lecture back up. I'm going to show this. So this DJ Craze lecture, I think I went in and kind of actually showed what happens. He's acting like it's all love in the Philippines. Like, hey, we're all part black. If you ask any Filipino, are you part black in the Philippines? They will, swear up and down and say no, right? These are the black Filipinos that he's talking about, right? I did this in the old lecture on why DJ Craze came for Qbert. So you can refer to that lecture. He's trying to say, because these kids are clearly black Filipinos. Being Philippines is just a country, it's a nationality, it's not an ethnicity. You know what I'm saying? There's different groups and different ethnicities within a nationality, right? So even though these kids are Filipino and Qbert's Filipino, he's obviously not from the same stock as these kids. You know what I'm saying? And he's acting like it's all love in the Philippines or something, right? But clearly, we see this ad right here. This ad right here is from the Philippines, with this girl in it, and it's clearly, not a, progressive ad, right? Like if you go through, commercial ad. All right, skip ads. All right, I have to cut this commercial out. But if you go to let's say you go to this is also the Philippines, right? So blackface or B-face is very common in the Philippines. He's trying to say like it's all love in the Philippines. It's not. It's actually worse than 1940s America. You know what I'm saying? And people try to act like, oh, racism is an American thing. It's not. Not just an American thing. It's actually racism. There's less racism in America than anywhere else because us Black Americans, Black caste Americans have been pushing the civil rights movement to end racism worldwide. So racism is in every country. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people trying to argue with me online, like here at our academy, because we deal with political science, current events, and things like that, as well as music, science, and technology. And a lot of people try to deny this stuff, but it's very, very big in Asia. Like you can see this stuff here, and we're going to be doing dropping the BTS lecture. Their hats. This is the same hats that BTS wore, and you can see this is in West Papua New Guinea people being persecuted by Asian police. You can see it's dark-skinned Asians persecuting the original native black people from Papua New Guinea. These are Pacific Islanders, and if you look at Pacific Islander Month, you don't see black people being shown. Of all the Pacific Islander Month ads that I've seen, I have not seen one black person. Even most of the Pacific is black. You know what I'm saying? Because in past lectures, I think we've shown that, even in Australia, and they'll try to separate us and be like, oh, they're not black, they're something else. Like, Pacific Islanders, they're not black. Papua New Guinea people, they're not black. But, I think they proved that Indian people only arrived in Australia to kind of change the dynamics of their hair about 4,500 years. Actually, it was less, maybe about 4,000 years ago, about the same time they brought the dingoes. About the same time dingoes came there. But yeah, you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. So we're gonna go back to I'm gonna click back because I was just trying to show that.
Agreeing to do this.
Right, and we're gonna skip a little bit.
Yeah, DJ culture been out here in the Bay way back. Go meaning everybody exits and leaves. Boo. No, it was I guess because at the time I wouldn't know how.
And then you just stuck with it, right? To spend like keeping up your skills.
Anything. This guy, like you gotta start battling energy to make albums and music.
Moving. It's people joy about each aspect of that. Getting back to your body of work. Do you ever think this is a historical legacy, or do you just like keep it moving?
You keep moving, like you learn.
Yep, but his legacy, he's never apologized, so I'm going to leave it off on that. His legacy is All Lives Matter and Pepe the Frog. So we're going to go back to, we're going to click back and get back to his Pepe stuff.
Invite people.
So let's go back. All right, we're going to get all the way back. So yeah, this is his legacy that he's leaving. And that's why this lecture is titled, Qbert rocking Pepe the Frog and showing, his true colors. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, I was just using the frog because it's a funny, meme, but it's a known meme. And we're gonna do a little bit more research on Pepe the Frog. I'm gonna click back. And we're gonna do a little bit more research. All right. All right, so let's do a little bit more research on it. So I'm Googling, is Pepe racist, right? Is Pepe the R word? So we clicked on the American, the Defamation League thing. So let's see. So I'm going to click on LA Times, how Pepe the Frog went from harmless to a hate symbol. Feels bad, man. Denzians of the darker concerns of the internet turned an innocent frog comic into a hate symbol of the deplorable alt-right. Pepe the Frog first appeared in 2005 in the comic Boy's Life. We already talked about that, but in 2008, fans of the comic began uploading Fury's work online. In one comic, Pepe responds to a question about his bathroom habits, and it said, "Feels good, man." The reaction image and catchphrase took on life of its own on the internet, meriting a Know Your Meme entry by 2009. Alternate iterations of Pepe, including sad, smug, and angry Pepe's followed. Pepe memes are ubiquitous across 4chan, Reddit, Tumblr, all these social media and imaging sharing sites. It all seemed in good fun, but in late September, Pepe's green visage was designated a hate symbol by the Anti-Defamation League. Oh, I thought it was the American Defamation. Anti-Defamation League, I was saying it wrong. ADL is the Anti-Defamation League. That's funny, I was saying American. The ADL's online hate symbol database is designed to help law enforcement, educators, and members of the general public identify potentially hateful images, explained Oren Segal, the director of the organization's Center on Extremism. He said that in recent years, hate symbols have proliferated online. Now with things like Pepe the Frog, anti-Semitic images are originating and circulating almost primarily on social media. In some instances, Pepe wears a brown shirt, mustache. I'm not going to say his name for the algorithms, and his signature message is replaced with "Kill blank man." In others, Pepe poses in front of a burning World Trade Center, dressed like an Orthodox blank person with traditional clothing on. He's also been spotted wearing brown shirt soldiers uniforms and triple K hoods and a robe. In May, the Daily Beast spoke to a W supremacist who said there had been a concerted effort on the site 4chan to reclaim Pepe from normal people in late 2015. Pepe had gone mainstream. He's been tweeted by Katy Perry, and we've also shown Katy Perry, doing anti-Kemetic stuff, and and having B-face shoes. She's on my B-face chart. We compiled a chart of all the celebrity Hollywood uses of B-face, about 100 different celebrities, and we'll be doing. That was just the modern version of the B-face, the modern era, like pretty much the color TV era separately in the future, but before that we'll be doing the Asian Western world B-face usages. We had a little bit of that in the first one, but we're going to have one that's just specifically focused on that, like with the the racist Pokemons and stuff, all that type of stuff. Who said he's been tweeted by Katy Perry, who said she has a Pepe file on her computer and has made multiple Nicki Minaj's Instagram. So, and you don't forget, Nicki Minaj is also part of the Blood Gang, which is a cult that's been destroying the black community for decades. She just married a husband, right? Who her husband's actually a registered sex offender, and she's a crazy person as well. So the supremacist group remixed him with brown shirt propaganda for a laugh. It originated on RK9, the 4chan message board of internet. last fall, people on the board. And so remember, this guy that just shot up all the people in the grocery store was a 4chan type of guy. You know what I'm saying? He was on all those sites, and that's what I meant by institutional racism. The fact that Qbert's playing around like it's a game, but killed by Pepe fans. You know what I'm saying? It's not a game, Qbert. You know what I'm saying? We just had 10 people get murdered by a Pepe person. You know what I'm saying? Pepe is a real team. So the brown shirt Pepe made its way to Twitter. Okay, wait. So last one, that board purposely framed 2 innocent individuals for the Umpqua Community College shooting. It's allegedly where Isla Vista shooter Elliot Rodger announced his shooting before it took place. So that's what I'm saying. So remember, the guy was on Twitch that just shot up all the people, and he had like 24 people watching, I think, when he started shooting up all the black folks at the grocery store, right? So the brown shirt Pepe made its way to Twitter, where people who regularly tweeted messages supporting white nationalism and anti-immigrant views quickly absorbed it into their internet repertoire. People who identify with those movements add the frog emoji to their Twitter name. In August, Hillary Clinton gave her now infamous speech denouncing some of Trump's supporters, particularly the segment known as the alt-right, as a basket of deplorables. A couple weeks later, Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., posted a photo on Instagram that depicted other supporters as deplorables from the movie Expendables. In the lineup, Pepe. 2 weeks after that, the ADL made its official designation. Segal, the American Defamation League, made its official designation. Segal, the representative for the organization, said that while the ADL was researching harassment of journalists on Twitter, particularly the use of the triple parenthetical echo around names to designate people of the Hebrew diaspora, they began to notice Pepe's face coming up more frequently, right? So that's very, very important. I didn't even know about the triple parenthesis thing. I'm just learning this now. So, this is partially an exploratory, research as well. So he said people on his staff were aware of Pepe's original inoffensive incarnation, but it was clear that the frog had become associated with anti-Semitic opinions online. When we felt that Pepe was reaching that point of the hateful version becoming more widespread, that's a criteria for adding it to our hate symbols database, he explained. To be clear, not every instance of Pepe is hateful. So, and that's what Qbert would probably try to say, like, oh, I was just, dressing up like a frog, and I never knew what All Lives Matter was, right? But, he was calling himself Pepe, he called the frog character Pepe, because he could have been like, I'm Kermit. It would have been better if he was like, look, I'm DJing as Kermit the Frog, you know what I'm saying? But we know what Pepe is, and he called him Grandmaster Pepe, which is, disrespectful to hip-hop culture, to black culture. So, photoshopping Pepe in front of concentration camps, let me rewind. So it depends on the context. Using Pepe to describe how it feels when you eat your friend's French fries or to express concern about getting your life in order is not hateful, but that's necessarily because it still is hateful because you can't really take away, the meaning from it, the new meaning from it. So photoshopping Pepe in front of a concentration camp, however, is hateful. So hopefully he says that the Pepe meme will be able to move past this dark point in its history and go back to just being fun. Obviously it can't. Because if you go to, Reddit right now, it's just, it's out of control, right? If enough people share positive or at least non-hateful Pepe memes to the point where few people encounter the brown shirt Pepe online, it wouldn't be a hate symbol anymore. The hate symbol database isn't the final stop for this meme, he said. This came as a big relief to Fury. So, they're kind of enabling it as well. The proof that the ADL is actually, they're not like, hey, this is straight up, a hate symbol, right? And so I'm going to click back. We don't have to, explain, the history of Pepe anymore. But what happens if we type images? I'm going to hit Google Images, right? And you can see, like, Pepe is very much associated with the alt-right. You know what I'm saying? Even like this, right? Like you can see stuff like this, right? Pepe is very, very, very much associated with racism and bigotry. And if you go to Asia, look at this right here. They're trying to say, it means something different in Asia and stuff like that. But we just showed all the type of stuff that's going in there. And look, you see Green Lives Matter, right? They're just making fun of stuff, just like we had Qbert saying all lives matter, and he's wearing Pepe. It's like, obviously, Qbert is alt-right, or that he's pandering to alt-right, because if you're pandering, then you're part of it. Like, we can see that Pepe is clearly a symbol of racism. You know what I'm saying? And that makes Qbert racist. And that's the end of this lecture. So peace, everybody. One love to all the positive people out there that recognize that there are inequalities in the world and are actively seeking to stop those inequalities. You know what I'm saying, in their life. All right. So yeah. So peace out, everybody. All right. Peace.
What else?
It's tragic at the end. David Blaine, Holyfield, so I got magic in these hands. And that's fucking I ain't like these other battle rappers. They talk too much. Saying I can't use the N-word in this battle. My nigga, I just call you. Hey, that shit was crazy. Let me drink it. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Let me drink it. Hey, we did that drink. Y'all tripping, bro.
Gotcha. Qbert's the game that two can play. If you win the most pegs, you got it made. Pretend to be Cupid, it suits your mood. Or pretend to be slick, the tricky dude. Or pretend to be slick, the tricky dude. Or pretend to be slick. Or pretend to be slick. Or pretend to be slick, tricky dude. Jump in that pyramid. Pretend to be slick, tricky dude. Jump in that pyramid. Jump in that pyramid. Up and down. Hit a nasty ends around.